Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you follow basketball, you know Chilltown Hoops.
So this is really good right here. Yo, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I was about to say good morning, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. Y'all know what time it is when y'all see me. It is Chilltown Hoops. We are on YouTube. We are live. This is what we do on Monday nights. We talk pro basketball, the good, the bad, the indifferent, and it is playoff basketball. And it is playoff basketball at its best. 100% it is. Playoff basketball at its best. And let me tell you, I have to say that that these playoffs have been some of the best playoffs that I've ever seen. Let me tell you, man. And just in the beginning, like I'm sure that as the playoffs progress, it's going to get even better, right? Watching this Orlando Celtics series, this series should have already been over. What up, Ayo? This series should have already been finished. The fact that we gotta do this again, tomorrow night is again some nonsense. This series should have already been over. The Miami Heat, I think their season ends tonight. Oklahoma City already got rid of Memphis, as they should have. But this Detroit Knicks series, Detroit 100% got jobbed. But with them getting jobbed, also, right? Also, I think it's interesting that the Knicks have been as good as they've been overall defensively. Now, is that a testament to the Knicks defense, or is maybe Detroit worse than I thought than what they were going to be offensively? I thought, what up, Beast? I thought with what was going on with Jalen Brunson, just as a defender, in how Detroit would do everything that they could to get him involved in action with Cade Cunningham, I thought that they wouldn't be able to handle that. Only except the opposite's been going on. The Knicks have done a great job in adjusting when they put OG Anunoby on him. I feel like he's done a really good job on him. I feel like they blitz him when he comes off screens. Now, I don't feel like that. That's what's going on. They blitz him when he comes off screens, and it works. Not only do they blitz him when he comes off screens, they also go after him too on defense. They put Cade Cunningham in the action, particularly with Jalen Brunson, who is averaging 15 a game in the fourth quarter of this series. Now, when you got a guy that's that good, just in the fourth quarter alone, you have an opportunity to win. The Knicks, not the Knicks, Detroit really misses. They really miss Isaiah Stewart, because now what that leaves, I apologize. I thought I turned this off. I'm sorry. But now what that leaves is Tobias Harris, right? Now that leaves Tobias Harris to now have to cover Cat on the box, right? Now that leaves Tobias Harris to now have to cover Cat on the box. And with him having to cover Cat on the box and having to cover Cat one-on-one, I think that takes it. Not only does it take away from his offense, I think it wears him down, because you got a bigger guy in Cat who pounds on him, who leans on him. And with that being said, now you find yourself in a space where the open shots that he was getting earlier in the game, I mean, now those shots are flat because his legs aren't there like they were a little while ago, right? And because of that, right? Because of that, that takes away from their offense. So now their secondary scorer, which is Tobias Harris. Now we got to go to our third scorer, which is Malik Beasley, who's primarily a long ball shooter. That's what he is. And because he's primarily a long ball shooter, right? Because he's primarily a long ball shooter, if you take that away, which they did in game 3, he was 1 for 8 at the long ball line. Now the Knicks put themselves in a really good space where they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to win. I love that about them, right? I love that about them. Mike, get the hell out of my chat. You a goofy. Get the hell out of here. You swear you know basketball. You don't. Mumble mouth ass dude. Get your ass out of my chat. Anyway, like I was saying, this Knicks team, for all intents and purposes, have the goods to just handle Detroit. I thought this series was going 7. I thought Detroit wins game 4, which they should have. Right? Which they 100% should have won yesterday. But I feel like their offense got stagnant, right? With their offense getting stagnant at the end of the game, not necessarily at the end of the game. Let me rephrase that. Their offense got stagnant throughout the fourth quarter. They weren't able to keep moving the basketball and keep getting quality looks like they could have, right? They couldn't keep getting quality looks like they could have early on in the game. I'm watching OG Anunoby fight over screens, close out on Malik Beasley. I'm watching Mikal Bridges be able to switch on screens, which I thought was great, right? I really thought that was great, his ability to switch. And in addition to his ability to switch, pushing Malik Beasley further away from the basket. Tim Hardaway was able to knock down some shots in the fourth quarter, but that one go-to guy that they have, which is Cade, that one go-to guy, him head-to-head with Jalen Brunson, I mean, Jalen Brunson 100% got the best of him. So because of that, right, because of that, I mean, I'm not sure if Detroit's going to win another game in the series. I'll be surprised if this thing came back to New York. I had the Knicks in 7. I thought Detroit was going to fare better on offense. And throughout the course of the season, when I watched them, I was putting all of that on how good Cade is. And it was working early. They went into Madison Square Garden and stole a game. With them going into Madison Square Garden and stealing the game, I'm still trying to figure out, right? I'm still trying to figure out how the Knicks just completely thwarted them. I do understand that. I do understand that the Knicks do a great job in switching, right? I do. Not only do I understand that they do a great job in switching, they got one of the better one-on-one defenders in OG Anunoby. So the pickup point with Cade Cunningham was a lot higher. They were able to slow him down in transition. Those not only were they able to slow him down in transition, those easy looks that he gets when he's coming off screens, when he's getting downhill, that wasn't happening. That's not happening. And so because that's not happening, now we have a situation where we got to depend on other people to score. Now, that would work if he had a secondary scorer who was up to snuff. Unfortunately, Tobias Harris is 19, 18 a game, even 17. It doesn't look the same in the playoffs, unfortunately. So he's still solid, but Tobias Harris is more of your third guy. He's Austin Reeves. He's that guy on a playoff team. He's not your secondary scorer because you're not going to get very far with him, especially when we get to the playoffs and we have mismatches like what we got going on between him and Cat. I get that part, right? I 100% get that. So moving forward with this Knicks series, I mean, Cat's been great. You know, with the exception of that one bad game he had, Cat's been great. I think Jalen Duren has done a poor job in finding him in transition, particularly because Cat is one of the, if not the best stop and pop big in the game. And when you don't find him in transition, he makes back-breaking threes, kind of like what Robert Horry used to do. But his threes, they just keep coming in flurries. Like Robert Horry would make one, and then the rest of the team would get rolling. They keep going to Cat, right? And Cat has done nothing less than be stellar in this, off the strength of his ability to handle the physicality, his ability to get downhill and play under control, right? When he does that, this Knicks team against this Detroit team, it definitely is a mismatch, 100%. Now, I can appreciate how you guys feel about the officiating, and I feel the same way, to be honest with you. If there's a foul, if you blow the whistle and call a foul, in the third quarter or in the first quarter, that's a foul in the fourth quarter too. You referee the defense. Not only do you referee the defense, you ref what you see. You don't ref what you think you're about to see. You don't guess. And there was a lot of physicality going on throughout the course of this series. The game got mucked up early, and I think that they let a lot of stuff go. And then they tried to get back control of the game. I want to say in the middle of the third quarter, they tried to get back control of the game. And with them doing that, that became even more of a problem. So with that becoming more of a problem, now you have stuff like what happened with Tim Hardaway. So now it gets inconsistent, where 1 minute I call a foul, then I don't call a foul, then I call a foul, then I don't call a foul. You have to call what you see. And if I'm standing in the lead, I'm on the baseline, I'm not looking at Tim Hardaway shoot the basketball. I'm paying attention to the closeout guy, which is Josh Hart. I'm paying sole attention to him and what he's about to do. And if he knocks Tim Hardaway off balance, blow the whistle. And don't just blow the whistle in the fourth quarter on that foul. No, if that's going on in the first quarter, blow the whistle. A foul is a foul, whether it's in the first quarter, whether it's in the third quarter. We have to blow the whistle. You have to, because I think we have something completely different between a series that's tied 2-2 and we coming back here for game 6. Whether win, lose, or draw, we coming back here for game 6, or a 3-1 series where now the Knicks are totally in control of this series. They're in complete control of this series, 100%. And it can't be taken away from them off the strength of a bad call. Don't get me wrong. I think Detroit's offense, again, was tricky. That part I'm not going to argue, but I do think that, I do think that officiating can be better. And we get in this space every year when it comes to officiating. We don't get in this space every other year. Every year we get in this space, whether it's in the NCAA tournament, whether it's in the NBA playoffs or the finals, we get in this space every year when it comes to officiating. Just even though these are the better officials in the playoffs than in the regular season. I mean, you got over 100 officials in the NBA in the regular season, and I think that for the playoffs, I think you get the top 25 or something like that, or the top 15 players, top 15 officials. So when that happens, you get guys relegated to the Eastern Conference or Western Conference. And with these guys being able to see the game like we think they can, like, you got to call great games. You have to. And I don't think that the Pistons deserve to lose like that. I don't think that the Pistons deserve to lose like that. I'd like to address this really quickly because this dude said, Chill, didn't you have the Lakers in 5? If I remember correctly, I remember breaking down this series, and I remember saying that if Minnesota was going to win this series, they had to beat the Lakers early. The longer this series went on, the more I like the Lakers, because I'm not betting against LeBron James in game 6 or game 7. I vividly remember me saying that. Vividly. Now, if there's something else that I said, straighten me out. But I vividly remember saying that I like the matchup of Anthony Edwards on Austin Reeves, because we can take Austin Reeves out of this series, which they've been doing. I think that they've done a great job at that. I thought that McDaniels can hold his own against James, which he's been doing that. I felt like he's been holding his own against James. And if you can hold James to anywhere between 24 to 26 instead of 30 to 35, I think that you have a shot. I thought Julius Randle, he was going to be the difference on the backboard. I thought he was going to, and holding the Lakers to one shot. And I said that if Minnesota was going to win this series, they had to do it early, because the longer this series lasts, I'm not betting against James in game 6 or game 7. I vividly remember me saying that. The fact that where you guys are getting me saying I got the Lakers in 5, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, this Boston Celtics series should have already been over. The fact that they have to play another game tomorrow is really disheartening, off the strength that they weren't prepared for the physicality in Game 3. This Orlando team came in Game 3 like they were fighting for their lives, and they weren't prepared for that, and they basically got beat up. Come Game 4, they matched all of that. Right? Come Game 4, they matched all of that physicality. Not only did they match the physicality, defensively, they matched them. As good as Orlando is as a defensive team, so the Celtics are just as good, if not better, as a defensive rebounding team. And your offense isn't close to what the Celtics offense is. You don't have the bucket getters that the Celtics got. You don't have the rotation guys that the Celtics have. So with that, right? With that being said, this series should have already been over. Today is Monday. This series should have been over yesterday. But instead, they got to play another day. Right? And now the rest that you could have gotten for the rest of the week, now this is where we are with it. But I think Jason Tatum, I've accepted the kind of offensive player he is. I've accepted the scorer that he is. He's going to take bad shots. He's going to settle for threes. He is going to get in the mid-range. He's going to get in the mid-post, and he's going to look fantastic. He's going to be great getting downhill. He's got that stop. He's got that stop and go. He's got that in and out where he can get to the rim with the best of them, and he's going to score the basketball around the rim. I've accepted that about Jason Tatum, and it's good enough. It's been good enough for them to win. 100% it's been good. I think over the last 2 games, he's averaging 30 and 12 or 30 and 13. 2 of the last 3 games, he had 37 and 14, and then he had 30, and then he had 36 in 13, I think, in Game 3. So, I mean, I've essentially accepted that about him, and I'm comfortable with it. I am comfortable with it that this is who he is, and you're not going to be able to slow him down. The Celtics have way too many. I think the Celtics have way too much from a personnel standpoint for the Orlando Magic to compete. Porzingis has not been the best. Not only has he not been the best, his shooting, I think yesterday he ended up canning 1 3. That was the first 3 that he had for the series. But I don't want to relegate this to just him shooting threes. No, I think on defense, he's also been bad. I'm not sold on Franz Wagner being this superior scorer. I think Franz Wagner can score. I'm not going to argue that at all. I think Franz Wagner is a good scorer. But to watch Wagner dominate KP at the end of that Game 3 was very disheartening, because I'm thinking, KP, you're a better defender than that. You are. And I'm not listening to the I'm not listening to the logic of KP being injured. Because when you step on the floor, you're telling me that you are 100% prepared to go. You're telling me that, right? So I don't want to hear, well, he's hurt and he's not ready. No, I'm not trying to hear that at all. So come Game 5, right? Come Game 5, I need to see a better effort defensively from KP. I need to see a better rim protector, the rim protector that I saw earlier in the season. I need to see a better rebounder, even though KP has never really been an elite rebounder, and that's never been my mantra with him. He's never been a double-digit or an elite rebounder. He's always been a solid rebounder. He's always been a good rebounder. He's never been elite. When I think about elite rebounders, I think about double-digit rebounders. That's what I'm thinking about when I think about double-digit rebound, especially bigs in particular. When you're a big, you have when you're a big at the elite level. If you're not a double-digit rebounder, I don't think that you're an elite rebounder. I think if you're an 8, 9 a game, if you're a 7 to 9 a game rebounder, you're good. Anything less than 10 for me tells me that you're a good rebounder. So I like the fact that Jaylen Brown played in the mid-range the way he did. I like the fact that he got downhill, and the Celtics just do such a great job in mismatch hunting. And the reason why that happens is because how good they are at screening, right? And I think that because of that, right? I think that because of that, I think that they cause so many problems as an offense in terms of mismatches. I think KP could do a better job when he's got a guy in Corey Joseph on him in the mid post and he's bumping him, trying to get him off of him instead of it being something quick. And I think I don't think that that's coaching. I just think that that's KP more than anything. What up, Mac? I think that that's KP more than anything because last season, before he got hurt in the playoffs, he was doing that to Tyler Hero. When Tyler Hero got switched onto him, he went after him. Straight went after him. He did that throughout the course of this season. When they run that action where he gets switched onto a smaller guy, when he gets him in the mid post or in the mid range, he goes after him. He doesn't waste a lot of time. So I think that we're in a space with Porzingis where I think he knows he's got to play better. I do, and I think that with them now being able to get rid of Orlando, they should handle them tomorrow and in this series. And Drew Holiday should be ready when they play the Knicks Detroit winner. Drew Holiday should be ready for that series. I mean, he's got a hamstring injury, and I know how hamstring injuries are. He should be ready. So it's not it's not something that I think should be a big problem. I mean, this Miami Heat series should be over tonight. They're clearly an inferior team. Now, getting blown out like they did, right? Getting blown out like they did in Game 3 by getting blown up almost 40, you're probably going to see the best effort that you've seen from this Miami team early. They're going to come out and they're going to give you everything that they have. Everything. I'm not going to be surprised if Tyler Hero comes out looking fantastic. I'm not going to be surprised if Bam comes out as aggressive as he can be. I'm not going to be surprised if Khalil Ware is on the glass a little bit more. These guys are fighting for their playoff lives. So early on, they're going to give you everything that they possibly can give you. So because of that, you have to break them early. And if you can break them early, you bury them. You 100% bury them. Donovan Mitchell, 2 of these last 3 games, he's averaging 30 and 7, and he's been stellar, right? He's been fantastic. Stop and pop pull-ups. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well in Game 3, but in Games 1 and 2, he's been great. That stop and pop pull-up, him playing off the dribble, him playing one-on-one, his playmaking and getting other guys involved, like Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill, these guys off the bench, they look fantastic. I think that he takes the wheel tonight, very much like he's done in Games 1 and 2, and I think that they end Miami, as they should. As they 100% should. There's no reason for Miami to stick around in this series. None whatsoever. This series should already be over. No doubt about that. I should have, and maybe it's just me, and I'm definitely guilty of it. I should have more interest in this Indiana-Milwaukee series, but I don't. I really don't. And the reason why is because I thought that I was going to get a masterclass from Giannis, which early on I did, but it's obvious that they don't have the personnel to contend with Indiana. It's obvious. And now with Dame tearing up his Achilles and being done for the rest of the season, and I don't know when he's going to be back. I think he misses all next season. I don't think that he misses half of the season. I think he's out all next season. He wasn't shooting the ball particularly well early on anyway. And because he wasn't doing that, that really put Milwaukee in a bind. Really put them in a bind. And now they find themselves going back to Indiana for Game 5 with very minimal offense. Not just minimal offense, less than defense. This is, I understand what Milwaukee's intent was. I do get that part. You know, Giannis wasn't interested, right? Giannis wasn't interested in signing an extension until he saw what they plan on doing. I 100% get that. I'm not giving you guys 3 or 4 more years of my prime unless I see what's going on here. And they went out and they got Dame, who the year that season before, he probably had the best statistical season of his career. He was third in the league in scoring. He was averaging 8 assists. He was a bona fide top 10 player. That was going on. He was a bona fide top 10 player at that point. And there's no reason to think that Milwaukee, with trading for him, not that this isn't going to work, but there's no reason to think that there's no reason to think that they're not trying, because they are. That's why Giannis signed that extension. Okay, they're clearly trying to do something. They're not just sitting on their hands and do nothing. They're clearly trying to do something, and I'm not going to argue that. It's just the dynamic didn't work. Number one, when you got a big and a small, that big one has to be able to screen. That's how you create disadvantages, right? That's how you create advantages for your offense, and you put the defense in a bad spot when you're able to screen. That's why Boston is as good as they are, right? That's why Boston is as good as they are, because they screen and they create mismatches, right? So with that, right, with that, this Milwaukee team, if you don't screen, which is what Giannis does not do consistently, when you don't screen, you don't create mismatches, and you're not allowing Dame to be more of a pick and pop, pick and dive point guard. No, you're not allowing him to do that because you're not screening. Well, same logic moves toward Dame. So when you're not screening, you're not allowing Dame to turn the corner. On the flip side to that, on defense, when you have a guy who is as inefficient as Dame is as a defender, we really put ourselves in a bind because we have a difficult time protecting him, especially when you have an old 5-man in Brook Lopez, who his best days are behind him. He's still a good rim protector, but he's a lot slower, right? He's a lot slower than what he was, a lot slower. And not only is he a lot slower, the switching that we have between him and Dame puts him in such a bind, right? Puts him in such a bind. So when I think it was 8 minutes, we were at the 8:20 mark in the second quarter, and I'm watching Brook Lopez switch on to Halliburton again, and I'm thinking to myself, why is this part of their defense? I don't understand it. Right? I don't understand why this is a part of their defense. 1s and 5s do not switch. That doesn't work. I don't care where you play. As good as Evan Mobley is, I'm not really comfortable. I don't like Evan Mobley switched on to Jalen Brunson. He can handle him, but I don't like him switched on to Jalen Brunson. No, I don't want Jared Allen switched on to Trae Young. No, I do not want Bam switched on to Luka. No, I don't. What I do want is I want you guys to get around screens. I want you guys to navigate screens, especially screens that are weak screens. Jaden McDaniels does a great job in navigating through screens. A great job at it. Now, I've accepted the fact that there are guys who just aren't very good at getting around screens. I accept that. Yeah, I accept that. And that's something that kind of comes with the territory. So we have to generate offense in different ways. And Dame this season, as inefficient as a screener as Giannis is, still played at an all-pro level. Before he went down with that calf injury, still played at an all-pro level. Right? Still played at an all-pro level. Still was one of the I still think he was a top 10 guard in the league. Still. With that being said, right? With that being said, he now finds himself in Milwaukee playing on a team where this just isn't conducive to his skill set. It's not. They don't have guys on the wing to protect him, which we shouldn't have to do that, but they are doing that. Right? We don't have guys on the wing to protect him. Outside of Giannis and Dame, they went and got Kuzma, and they did it for athleticism more than anything. Right? They did it more for Kuzma to be the athletic wing that he was with the Lakers, because they worked there. But I think that we're in a space where what he did in Washington those 4 years, it's going to be hard to knock those cobwebs off. Hard to knock those cobwebs off. And because of that, right? Because of that, they had to do something, because Middleton was finished, I think. Middleton was finished. And because Middleton was finished, they go get a younger, more athletic wing who doesn't shoot it as well, who doesn't create off the dribble as well. But they were trying to do something. And I think that this was a combination of being unlucky because Dame got injured. And in addition to Dame getting injured, Giannis got hurt last year. And now we're in a space where Kuzma is not really panning out, because not because Dame isn't efficient as a lead guard, because he was. I just feel like with Dame being there, I mean, they clearly, it was obvious that they were trying to do something. It was obvious that they were, and I definitely give it up to Milwaukee for trying, but this thing failed. It did. Now we're in a space where Milwaukee has to make some decisions. Not sure what decisions they're going to make, whether they're going to blow this whole thing up, because I mean, I saw Danny Ainge after Utah lost in the playoffs to Dallas. I saw Danny Ainge go, "This ain't working. Nope." And he got everybody. Donovan Mitchell got to go. Rudy has to go. Royce O'Neal, he has to go. All of these guys have to go. And the reason why they got to go is because, we tried it. It worked. It's not working anymore. It's not. And because it's not working anymore, we got to move on from it. Maybe we're in that space in Milwaukee where, you know what? This thing just isn't working, and we may have to blow this whole thing up, and we got to start over. And the question is where do we start over? When you got a situation like what's going on in Milwaukee, where we don't have a lot of options outside of the draft and trades. We do have a significant trade piece in Giannis, who, for all intents and purposes, I think he's going to ask out. I think Giannis is going to ask out. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Because I think that, let's see, Giannis showed up in 2013. He's been there 12 years. Yep, he's been there 12 years. And in the 12 years that he's been there, what have we gotten? Got an NBA championship, been to the Eastern Conference Championship twice, been to the playoffs a bunch of different times, and you held on to Brook Lopez a little bit longer than you should have. You probably held on to this group longer than you should have. They got long in the tooth, and you probably held on to them longer than you should have. I'm in the minority. I thought this was a 3-year window. I thought next year was year 3 of this window. With Dame tearing his Achilles, that throws a monkey wrench in it, and I think we're finished. I do. I think we're finished with that. And now we find ourselves in a space where we have to start over. Yeah, I think we do have to start over. But I want to hear from you guys. I do. I want to hear from you guys. This playoffs has been nothing less than stellar for me. I really enjoyed it. What up, Mac?
Hey, how's it going, OG?
What's up, brother?
I'm a Boston. I don't want to jinx anything, but I do feel like we're going to do really solid in this series. And what's the team do you think that if Boston does beat the Magic, that they are kind of like we're really hoping for in the next round? Just out of their playing style and how they operate.
The Knicks.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why is because the Knicks are built to beat them, but they don't have the offense to beat the Celtics. And I mean, it showed throughout the course of the regular season how much the Celtics are just better than them on the offensive end. And defensively, I mean, I don't think that the Knicks compare as a collective.
Yeah.
And the way that the Boston Celtics continuously, not just mismatch hunt, but the way that they get you in action in terms of screen and roll, pick and pop, I think that they'll keep Cat in that action. They will continue.
And the pressure too. They apply a lot of pressure with the threes. They they never let down with Boston, and that's one of the things
that's who they are.
Can be great.
Yes, that's 100% who they are. I don't think that they would have a problem with Detroit. I'm not saying that they would prefer the Knicks over Detroit, because I think that they would handle Detroit too, off the strength of how good they are offensively. But I think the Knicks were built to beat them, and that just failed miserably.
Yeah, because I know you've mentioned in the past, like, there's some teams that even as good as you are, you don't want to see them.
Right.
And I mean, who knows? I mean, I've seen. I don't want to jinx anything. I was just thinking, like, they seem so well, and I'm just thinking about the next series because that's because we just won our championship. I'm always thinking about the next series, I guess, and just preparing for the next one. But you never know what can happen. My other question was slightly different. Who are your top 5 jazz artists?
My top 5 jazz artists. I dig, to be honest with you, and a lot of people won't talk about him a lot. I dig Wayman Tisdale as a jazz musician. Wayman Tisdale. Anybody knows Coltrane? They 100% would love him. I dug Al Jarreau too. Al Jarreau was good. Al Jarreau was really good.
He had a really unique voice too.
Yes, I think that's what made him different than other. That's what made him different.
Like grovelly voice. Yeah.
Yes. Miles Davis, of course. Those are the guys that I'm thinking about off the top of my head.
I got a couple of vinyls for you before I go and let someone else on. This is actually from 1955. It's Louis Armstrong live.
Louis Armstrong definitely is a top 5.
And this is like from 55. I found it. It was a really good one.
Wow.
I love playing this one. It's really good.
Sir.
You can hear the grainy in it. And then just before I go, there's Duke Ellington and Count Basie combo.
Duke Ellington was fantastic too. Count Basie was awesome. I dug Count Basie on the piano. Yeah.
He was very opposite of Louis Armstrong, where like Louis Armstrong was like grainy and kind of earthy and like more street level, while Duke was more elevated and kind of he performed for the higher elite, and so he had like a different kind of style to him. But
he performed for dignitaries. 100% he did. Yes. Yeah. No doubt.
It's good catching up.
All right, man. Good to talk to you, brother. No doubt. What up?
Yo, what up, Chill?
What up?
What up? Yeah, man. I don't really know how I feel about JJ Redick playing those 5 guys in the whole second half. But I'm gonna tell you what I do think though. I don't think he should have wasted his challenge in the first half, and I think that's what won the Timberwolves the game. And Chill, if I was a coach, I don't care how obvious a call is. I am not using my challenge in the first half. I don't care.
Man. I do. I hate that. Like in the first quarter, if a guy doesn't have
you
fouls,
can't lose it. It's too valuable. If Chris Finch doesn't have that challenge last night, they don't win that game.
That's
and then all of a sudden, that was a big deal. And we got a camera angle that we never even saw. I've never seen that camera angle.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that. And if we don't get to see that, then that's the Lakers ball.
That's Lakers ball, and they got a chance to get a better look.
From where it was, from where I saw, it looked like it looked like James it looked like it was a clean rip, and Anthony Edwards slipped out of bounds. That was it. That's what it looked like. But now we get to look at it from up top. James clearly hit him on the arm.
Like, where they get that camera angle from, Chill? I've never seen that camera angle before.
Clearly hit him on the arm.
But that's why, like I said, Chill, that challenge is too valuable. And it burns me up when coaches, well, for one, when players ask the coach to use the challenge in the first half. Like, even if you're right, it's not worth it, because then they might see something that you didn't even know happened, and now you done lost the challenge. And now a big call like that at the end of the game that can change your season, now you can't even challenge it.
On top of that, Classic, how many times have they been wrong? Like, how many times have you seen players go challenge and they 100% wrong?
Right.
And now we not only do you get a third foul or a second foul, we lose a timeout and we lose a challenge. No. That's
It's
why you
not
got
worth
coaches
it.
on the sideline. That's why you got coaches on the sideline. What are you seeing? Okay, no challenge. I'm definitely an advocate of that. No, I'm not, unless it's something egregious where I have to have them go take a look at it. But if it's not, no, I'm not using none of my challenges in the first half, especially in the first like 5 minutes of the game when watching James Harden go challenge this. Hell no. No, I'm not doing that.
It's not worth it. And then Chill, man. So how did you feel about Rudy Gobert last night, Chill?
I thought that he was good. I thought defensively he was really good. I thought that
And
they
what
could have
about on
affected him.
offense?
Again, on offense, I thought that I saw twice, two times, one in the second half where he was wide open underneath the basket. The more I watch Rudy Gobert, I think to myself, because sure, I'm a little old school, and I think about the lead guard, and I think about his ability to pass, like Mark Price and Stockton and Penny Hardaway, and I'm like, how much better would he have been if he was playing with somebody like that? Because there's times when he's around the rim and he's wide open, and they just won't
I
hit
think
him.
I could definitely see you doing. Sometimes I feel like you envision something that Rudy Gobert is actually not. Because did you see the layup that he missed when McDaniels threw him the alley oop and he airballed the finish and then he got it back and tried to do the layup and missed it and then he got a rebound again, but then Austin Reeves got it out of his hands. Like that. That's the type of stuff where I'm like, man, and you notice, man, it happened again last night. Chill. They Chris Finch put him back in the fourth quarter. The Lakers got a three, and then he immediately took him out.
Well, he's situational at this point in this series. But I'm just having a difficult time that a guy that's averaged 15 a game in the playoffs has become unplayable. I'm having a difficult time with that. I'm not buying that at all. Nope.
Right. And yeah, and Tatum, man, he had a good game last night. But he
No, he
keeps playing
didn't.
like
No,
how
no,
I
no.
told you,
But
Chill.
no classic. No, he did not have a good game.
He had a great game.
Yes.
He had a great game. No, he had a great
game. You notice like it's a lot of crickets around Jason Tatum. Like if he sucked, you know what the kind of nonsense that I would be getting, especially on a panel. Like if he sucked, if he was building a house. But the fact, 37 and 14 yesterday in game 3, 36 and 13, 36 and 14. If he sucked and he was, because you remember what I had to deal with last year in the first round of the playoffs against Miami. And now it's crickets. Like we ain't even talking about him. But if this was going on, it would be something completely different. I think it's really interesting.
Right. But I think one reason he was able to go off, because I've told you I don't like Porzingis, but I think Porzingis played different last night. I seen him setting screens and running to the rim last night and actually being like a lob threat and being like someone that can finish instead of just posting up and shooting. And I think that's the kind of role I want Kristaps Porzingis in. I don't want to see him in the post, Chill, because he does, whenever he's in the post, he doesn't back the defender down like long enough and like close enough to the paint to make his height an advantage. He likes to post and then shoot these fadeaways. Like you're too tall for that, but whenever he's setting picks and running to the rim, that's where he can use his height to an advantage. And that's why I had initially said that I had wanted Cornette to have his minutes. But if KP plays like that, I'm cool. I'm cool with that. And he can. I'm very cool with that. If KP uses his height to his advantage instead of trying to prove that he's so skilled.
And trying to prove that he's a physical big, because he's not. Let's be clear about that. Like when he gets in the mid post and he got a smaller dude on him, if he just shoots over the top of him, okay, I'm good with that. I take no issue with that at all. But when you're trying to, like Ewing and you banging against the guy, I'm like, yo, that's not your game. That's not you. No, that's not your game at all. So we'll see. I to be honest with you, Classic, this series should have already been over. I'm perturbed the fact that we still gotta go back to Boston tomorrow for game 5. This series should have already been over with. But what they did was I feel like they matched Orlando's fight yesterday more, because I don't think the offense changed. I don't think that there was anything different with the offense. I don't think they did anything different defensively. I just think that they brought the fight to Orlando. You guys are not going to
see Tatum, man. He acted real aggressive last night. I love seeing him.
You guys are not going to push us around like you did in game 3. No, you're not going to do that. That was the difference in the game. And once Orlando, once Orlando recognized that they couldn't push them around, now guess what happens? Yeah, you got to play, and you can't match us skill for skill. You can't do that. No, you can't. So this series should already be over. All right, Classic. You know where to find me.
All right, brother. Man. You have a
good. What up?
All right, Joe. What's up?
What up? What up?
I was just curious. I had a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Grand. Yeah, I just had a question. Obviously, if Giannis asks out, like, what teams outside of OKC can actually make a move for him without gutting their roster? Do you get me? Because
what
Like what
teams
teams
can make a
outside of
move
OKC?
for
OKC have the only team that can like make a move for him without like getting rid of all the role players, all the help and all that.
who? Who we
You
talking
get
about? Giannis?
Giannis, yeah, Giannis.
Oh,
Because like if he goes to a team and like Dame did to Milwaukee, where they gut their roster and just end up having like no role players around, it's a bit cooked. Then you get me?
I don't think that there's one team unless you want to give up everything. Like OKC is not giving up everything for Giannis. They first and
No,
foremost,
no,
OKC
they don't need to. Yeah,
is right there. There's no reason for them to do that.
yeah.
I think teams like San Antonio, Atlanta, I think
Even
teams like that, I feel like you got to get a
as well.
third team involved. Like
Okay,
I think you got to coerce a third team and get them involved, so you don't have to give up nearly as you don't have to give up nearly as much for Giannis, but you can give up enough. Like this is going to work out for all of us. Because straight up and straight down, it's kind of like paying with two different credit cards. Like the credit card that I got, okay, I can pay with this credit card, but I mean, if I could get you to pay some of this too, it would really help me out. So I think that if you're gonna trade for Giannis, I feel like you got to get a third team involved if you're a team.
But
like
is that
Atlanta.
not more just to make like the money work with like kind of moving role players around? I feel like you still need to give up the capital, even in terms of draft picks and stuff like that. You need to completely like gut your future and then get rid of a lot of your key role players that you already have. So like what I'm saying, like with Giannis, they probably won't ever win like another ring again because like you're gonna have to go to a good situation. Like if it's just him and Wemby and then like Fox, that's not gonna be enough. Like you get me?
No, it's not. No, hell no. And not only that, like why would Giannis agree to that? I mean, I understand that he's under contract, but there's no way that I'm going to. If Milwaukee and San Antonio are involved in this, first and foremost, Castle has to be involved in the deal. I'm going to say Castle has to be involved in the deal.
Whatever draft pick they have this year, probably.
Yeah, I'm taking whatever pick Atlanta ends up with. I'll take that pick off your hands because they get Atlanta's pick, and they get
probably.
And they get their pick. So I'm taking Atlanta's pick and I'm taking your pick. I'll take Castle off your hands. We need to get a third team because there's no way San Antonio's agreeing to this. There's not.
Yeah, like the money just doesn't work either. Like
there's no way.
So hard to be honest, like, and then like even like that's what my thing is as well. Like you might as well kind of just stay, and then hopefully the roster kind of gets retooled around where it's the younger, more athletic, like that. Like because like. Even Dame said it, like the grass is not always green on the other side. Like
no, it's not.
Like, if Dame's at Portland right now, like, we'd be a lot better. I won't lie. Like if that's like the perfect team around him, like defense, physical.
I'm in the minority, and I got roasted when I said when you guys got Scoot, I wasn't ready to move off Dame. I wasn't.
Yeah,
I was not ready. I was not ready to move off Dame. I got roasted for that. Like, yo, you gotta trade him, and he's got to ask out. They're rebuilding, and I'm thinking, okay, first of all, this team isn't awful. I think that I do think that we have some. I do think that we have some talent, right? Yeah. But like I said, I was in the minority. I was.
I think if we traded Anthony for Dame, that would be perfect almost. That would literally like we obviously can't do that, but if we could just replace Anthony with Dame, we'd probably make the playoffs next year easily. But
you can't do it.
That's probably that's all I got.
That's where we at. All right, brother. Good to talk to you. What up?
Hey, what's good, OG? How you doing tonight?
What's up, boy? What's going on, brother?
Hey, not a whole lot. Love the show tonight. You were talking about the Bucks a little bit, and kind of obviously the mismanagement or the unluckiness, kind of a combination of both. The Kuzma trade. Kyle Kuzma is absolutely disappeared, averaging 6 points right now in the playoffs. Like what is going on? Like what do we not know? Why is Kuzma playing this poorly?
I think that, and I'm on record saying this, that the 4 years that he was in Washington, that's kind of carried over to what's going on now in Milwaukee. He was a way different player when he was with the Lakers for those 3 years. Way different. Better transition player, better habits, better defender, better rebounder. He played more within that system. Now he goes to Washington where they have no idea what they're doing. All of his faults get highlighted. They're playing him more as a one-on-one player. He's deviating from the offense. He's now in isolation. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not his game. He's a transition player. Not only is he a transition player, he's a quick hit guy. That's perfect for playing with guys like Damian Lillard. That's perfect for playing with guys like Giannis. But over those 4 years, he's been this guy. So we got to work all of that stuff out and now get him back to what he was when he was in Los Angeles. The problem is we don't really have a lot of time with that, because now with Dame being hurt and now Giannis is in limbo, because I think they're going to lose tomorrow. I think that series is over. I think that they're going to lose. With that being said, I actually liked Kuz, but I can't defend him in this particular situation because I feel like what he has become when he was in Washington has kind of trickled down to what he is in Milwaukee, and it's going to take a lot to get him back to what he was when he was in Los Angeles.
I totally agree. And my, I guess, next progressive thought ends up being like, if you're Milwaukee, like, how much are you missing Chris Middleton right now?
If you had a healthy Chris Middleton, I mean, like you had him last
exactly,
year,
healthy, yeah.
I think that this series would be much more competitive.
Yeah, right.
Competitive. Yes, it would be.
I feel like, because at the very least, you knew Middleton was going to bring an A+ effort in the playoffs.
Yep.
I feel like he's one of those guys that he's been through it before. He knows what to do, that type of thing, and that's really what they need right now with Dame going down. And Kuzma just, I've been quite disappointed.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
With them getting Kuzma, it was a different type of architect. They get Kuzma. They wanted to upgrade at the wing spot, get more athletic, get a better transition player. And when you get a better transition player, what you're taking away from the shot creator that Middleton was. Okay, now we don't have that. So now where does that get supplemented at? Okay, that gets now supplemented with now Giannis and Dame. So Dame goes down. So now that leaves Giannis. And now that leaves Kuzma to go back to what he was in Washington. Ori, we're trying to get him out of that. We don't want we're trying to get him away from that. No, because that's not him. So we're basically back in the same space that we were when he was in Washington. No, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. And then last little tidbit. I was just curious, like when it comes to the New York Knicks and their the battle, obviously. With the bad call aside, I don't want to get into that portion. We talked about that a lot. How impressed with Cat have you been in this series, considering that he's always had that soft label? He's kind of always had that playoff dropping kind of label. He to me, he's been impressive, and I was just curious what your thoughts on how he's performed so far.
The thing that I marvel at with Cat more than anything, and this was the series to do it, was his toughness. How much tougher he is. Like usually in a series like this, with this level of physicality, more times than not, guys will cower. Guys will back down, and Cat has not done that. In fact, what he's done is he's matched the physicality, and it hasn't taken away from his game. Right, he's still able to stop and pop. Right, he's still able to get downhill. He's not moving away from it and getting pushed around like he would in the past. That's the thing that I marvel at with him the most, more than anything. And it's really helped the Knicks, because if he's playing soft, if he's not playing up, if he's not on the glass, if he's not getting downhill, if he's not aggressive around the rim. He had a shot last night on yesterday afternoon on Tobias Harris, a turnaround on the right block. I was like, he doesn't shoot that 2 years ago. He does not go to that. No, he doesn't.
Exactly. And I think that's what made it so impressive. Those two clutch shots, there's no way he's taking those shots in another scenario. So, hey, good stuff, OG. I hope you have a nice night.
All right, Ori, good to talk to you, brother. What up?
Chill.
What up, brother?
What's going on, sir?
What's up, brother?
Man, these playoffs have been awesome. Been absolutely awesome. But my mind is already thinking about this off season. I'm gonna tell you, chill. My gut is.
See, this is what I'm talking about, brother. Can we stay right here?
I know where
you going.
Chill. It's a lot of people finna be on the move. A lot of people, a lot of good people, a lot of really good people.
I know where you're going, but listen, my man, the date just started, and it's
going
good. The date's going good. Let's not move her in just yet. Let's hold on. Can we do that?
All right. Well, I'm gonna ask this one question. I'm gonna let you go. If you're Memphis, do you bring back Triple J?
You got to make a decision on what the plan is moving forward with this group, because I'm under the belief that if you don't think that you can win with this group, there's no reason to pay Triple J. If you don't think you
Exactly.
can win, if you don't think I'm with Nico Harrison. Yeah, I'm definitely Nico didn't think he can win with Luka. He doesn't. He does not think that he can win with him. And
Mm.
he may be right. We don't know. Right? He may be right. We don't know. If you looking at Triple J and you don't think that you can win with him, and I understand the logic. Well, who are we going to sell to the public? Who are we putting on the moniker? Right? If who are we selling? Well, I tell you what they're not going to do is they're not going to be comfortable with us just putting out a product where we're getting bounced in round one every year.
Correct.
No, they're not. They're not. On top of that, having to pay Jaren Jackson, who's going to be an All-Pro this year, who's going to be an All-League defender. So, like, we got to open up the checkbook, Minor. Like, we got to pay this dude. And
I can't do it, chill.
If we paying him $340 million, $350 million over the next 5 years, and we getting bounced in round one, nah.
Nah.
And on top of that,
Nah.
Ja has been out 3 of the last 4 playoffs. He's
Yes.
missed 3 of the last 4 playoffs. What's the plan with Ja moving forward? And you know how I feel about Danny Ainge. I can't stand him. But Danny Ainge is 100% right. If you're in a space where you look at this group and go, yo, we ain't winning with them, and we're gonna have to pay all of these guys. Don't forget, Desmond Bane on the books for $200 million.
Yep.
He's on the books for $200 million. We live in a different CBA now where the second apron cripples you, where we can't make any moves. If we can't win with this group, what are we doing here? Why are we still together? There's no reason for us to be together. We got to break this thing up. We do.
So if you're Triple J, clearly you're going to ask for the max, clearly. And I don't think Memphis is going to give them. So my next option is, okay, what team out there is going to pay for Triple J?
San Antonio will pay for him.
Oh my God, I didn't think of that.
Yes, sir. San Antonio will pay for him. Yes, sir.
Ooh, him and Wemby back to back?
Yes, sir. They still got Wemby on it. They still got Wemby on his rook deal. They just got De'Aaron Fox. They got those rotation guys. Yeah, San Antonio will pay for them. Yes, they will.
That's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nasty. Chill.
Mm-hmm.
I hope somebody in San Antonio heard that statement, because that would be that'd be turn the West up.
And you don't have to pay him what Memphis would have had to pay him.
Correct.
Right?
Because they're the only ones that can really pay him the big money.
Yes, you won't have to pay him. You can get him for a discount. Yeah, San Antonio will pay for him. Yes, San Antonio will pay for him. I want to say Atlanta, but Atlanta's already straight.
Yeah.
Atlanta's already straight. I think Atlanta's straight with Jalen Johnson, but I love him in San Antonio. I do. I love him in San Antonio.
I think that works. That works really well. All right, chill. Till next time.
Good to talk to you, brother. So yeah, man. I Memphis got some decisions to make this offseason. Of all the teams that have some decisions to make, big time decisions, Milwaukee has got some decisions to make this offseason, and Memphis has got some real decisions. But I ain't even thinking about the offseason yet, because we have an awesome, and when I tell you awesome, we got an awesome playoffs going on. This is fantastic what I'm seeing in the playoffs. Yes, we've already had a sweep in Oklahoma City. This thing in Miami should end tonight. This thing in Miami should 100% end tonight. Get these dudes out of here, and Cleveland should move on. That thing in Orlando should have ended yesterday, but it should end tomorrow, right? It should end tomorrow night, and they should be moving on. Same thing with Detroit. They should end, because I'm a fan of domination. I've always been a fan of domination. You will never talk me off that ledge. I've always been a fan of domination. I've always loved to watch one team kick another team's ass. Love that. 100% love that. So if I'm better than you, I just need to show it, right? If I'm better than you, I need to show that I'm better than you. And I think that I think that this first round has shown for me how superior these other teams are to the lesser teams. So I love it, and I think the later rounds, Indiana, because I think Indiana deals with Milwaukee. I think these next round, I think it's going to get even better. So I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it. So speaking of here, it's about that time. I got to bounce. It was good to see you guys tonight. Y'all know where to find me at. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok, 9 a.m. every morning. It's called Good Morning NBA. If I'm not there, you can find me on a panel on the Players Choice Network right here on YouTube from 11 to 2, Monday to Friday. If you can't catch me there, you can catch me and my man Big Ox. We do it on Thursday and we do it on Saturday. It's called Chill with Chill. Hit the subscribe button and you'll get your notification. And weeknights, I'm right here on Chill with Chill. Me and my man Tony Tone, we do it again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So not hard to find, man. I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talk to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was all.